What's going on, YouTube? Welcome back to another episode on the Life as Huncho YouTube channel. It's your host, the one and only Hugh Huncho, on the mic today. And as you can see by the title, I'm going to be giving you guys some free games, some free sauce coming into the new year, right? You guys are going to be learning some of the things that I wish that I learned and knew before I was 25. I just crossed over that threshold. I'm 26 now, and people are officially calling me Unc. I'm not Unc, okay? I'm not Unc. I'm an OG. You feel me? I've been around the block maybe one or two, three, many times. And I got some sauce, I got some game, some words of wisdom that I would definitely like to lay on to not only my younger counterparts, right, but individuals who might even be older than me. Maybe you might just not know this stuff. I do believe that age doesn't equivalent to maturity or success or intellect or wisdom. It's really about the knowledge that you have and being able to apply it and use it on a day-to-day basis to get the results and achieve the goals that you really want. Right? People think that knowledge is power, but in reality it's not. Knowledge is only power when it's applied and when it's actually, used, right? You can know a lot about a lot, but if you don't do anything about it, it's the same thing as knowing a lot about nothing. You feel me? So we're going to go ahead and jump right into it. As the title, you could say maybe not 25 things, but just a few things that I wish that I knew before I was 25. Let's go ahead, let's jump right into it. A lot of this sauce, a lot of this information that I'm going to be giving you is going to be coming from one of my distant mentors. His name is Kevin Trudeau, right? He's a multi-billionaire. He's been starting and creating businesses since he was 18 years old. And a lot of the information that I'm going to be giving to you from him isn't even from him. It's from other successful people and the things that they did to get to the level of success that they have right now. We're going to speed through it because it is a lot of information. I don't want to make this video very long, so feel free to go back, replay. I'm going to drop some timestamps in the comments so you guys can kind of skip to whatever part you think is the most important or relevant to you, right? And I hope you enjoyed the video, right? Like it, share, comment below, and let's go ahead, let's jump into it. The first thing that I wish that I knew before I was 25 is that you have to have a high teachability index. You got to be willing to not only learn the information, right, one, at a rapid pace, but be able to retain the information, but also you need to have a willingness to change. A lot of times people are willing to learn the information, learn the things that they need to do, but they're not willing to change themselves or change their environment to change their situation, right? If you want things in your life to change, you have to change things in your life, point blank, period. If you want to get a six-pack, good shoulders, arms, right, you have to start going to the gym. You have to start working out more, even if it's at the crib, right? If you want to cut the tummy tuck, right, and that belly fat, you got to stop. You got to lay off the junk food. You see what I'm saying? If you want to make more money, you got to work more hours. You got to pick something else up. That's just how the way the world works. So you have to have a willingness to change, but the thing that comes before that is the willingness to learn the information that you need to begin with, right? Poor, P-O-O-R, does not mean pocket poor. That actually means broke, right? When you don't have no money in your pocket, you're actually broke. But that is something that can be fixed, right? Pun intended. But when you're poor, P-O-O-R, you're passing over opportunities repeatedly. How many times have you learned information? How many times have you had a really great idea of, this is something I could possibly do. This is something I could probably be really good at, but you didn't try and do it. You didn't try to even learn about it, right? Me, I work in the networking side, but before that, I was doing sales. I would have never got the job that I have now if I was not willing to learn something new, learn a new skill set, and then be willing to change my industry for the betterment of myself, right? So that's one. Have a high teachability index and have a high willingness to learn. The second thing is understanding in success, there's two sides to the equation, right? Which is known as the training balance scale, right? On one side, we have thoughts, motivation, enthusiasm, right? Your character, you can say. And then on the other side is the work, right? The skills, the action steps, the things that you're actually doing on a day-to-day basis to get to where you want to be at to achieve your goals. A lot of times what people do is that they overdose on one or the other. They either work really, really hard and burn themselves out, or they think very positive and they're optimistic and uplifting, but they don't put in any work, so they start psyching themselves out, right? How many people know that? How many people have psyched themselves out and tricked themselves out of their own spot? right? You need to have a balance of both. You need to be thinking positive and reassuring yourself on a day-to-day basis that you're going to get to where you need to be at. But then you need to be putting the work on the back end on a day-to-day basis so you can actually see the fruits of your labor, get closer to your goals. And what's going to happen is that when you start seeing a little bit of results, a little bit of success, it's going to start motivating you to put in more work. And then on the other side, your thought process is going to get even better. So you need to have a good balance of both. Right? And that's the way that you achieve success on a very quick timeline, right? Because I just got a couple of notes here, so we're going to try and just speed through a lot of them. I'm telling you, there's a lot of information, a lot of sauce that I want to give you guys, right? The third thing, and this is something that a lot of people don't realize when they're trying to learn a new skill, that there's actually 4 steps, 4 phases you can say that you're going to go through when you learn something new, right? The first phase is unconscious incompetent, which basically means you don't know that you don't know. You don't know that you don't know that there's a whole new way of doing things, or that there's a whole new industry, or that there's a whole new way of making money, right? That was oblivious to you, right? That's unconscious incompetent. You just don't know that you don't know. Right? Which is a lot of people. And a lot of times when you're at this phase, it's okay. But then we go to the next phase, which is conscious incompetent. Now you know that you don't know. Now you don't know how to deal in a relationship, right? Or now you know that you shouldn't be rude or mean to your partner. Before you didn't know that was a thing, right? Because you've seen it growing up with your parents, right? Being in a toxic environment. But now you know that that toxic environment isn't the right way of doing things, right? And that there's a better way. Then the third stage is conscious competence. You make the conscious effort to apply the principles that you have learned to change your situation. Right? Now you are consciously applying these principles, consciously applying good things, good practices to have a healthier relationship with your partner, with your friends, or with the people around you. Because now you know the wrong way of doing things. Before you didn't know. Now you know. So now you're consciously competent. So you're actually placing yourself in an environment to do better consciously. You're trying, right? You're actually, you're thinking your decisions through now, right? You're thinking what's the better option for you, how you should manage and prioritize your time, right? And then we get to the 4th stage, and this is where a lot of successful people are. And I could give you this terms maybe in basketball, right? When you're at the first stage, right, unconscious incompetent, you don't know that you're shooting the basketball wrong, right? You don't know that, you're supposed to keep it off of your palm, things of that nature, right? Then you get to the second stage, which is conscious incompetence, right? Where basically now you know you didn't know, and now you are actually trying to do something about it. Then you go to conscious competence, where every single time you shoot the ball, you're thinking about where the ball is placed on your palm, right? So you can make sure that it goes into the basket with a good arc, right? Things of that nature. Then we get to the 4th stage, and this is where a lot of successful people are, is unconscious competence. Basically, what that means is that now they're not even thinking through the process anymore. They're not thinking about the basketball when it's on their palm before they shoot the ball. It's just happening naturally. It's like almost second nature to them because they've done it so much, so long that now they don't even need to think about it. It's almost scary when successful people get to this stage because then you almost start asking them, how do they get their success? And it's almost as if they don't even know. It's almost as if it's automatic. It's almost as if as soon as they shoot the ball, they just know it's going to go in to the point where they could just turn around and start running down court. How many NBA players do we know are like this? Stephen Curry is a prime example. Do you know how many free throw shots, how many three-pointer shots he was shooting on a day-to-day basis before he even got to the NBA? And then how much training he still had to do once he's in the NBA to elevate his game? Think about that. How much time and effort it took for him to get to that unconscious, competent level, right? We see this with traders, people who they put so much work that now they're just almost emotionally detached from the money, that they're able to make crazy amount of gains and have so much money put on the line that they don't even bat an eye on it, It's because it took them time to get there. So there are 4 stages. Right, let's go ahead. Let's speed blitz through a few of these. Right, the other thing, and I talked about this in one of my previous videos, is our fourth principle is having a definitive purpose, right, and a burning desire to achieve your goals. Right, a lot of times we might not really know what we want, or we might have so many different ideas on the things and possibilities that we could do. When I was growing up, I wanted to be everything. I wanted to be a detective. I wanted to be an astronaut. I wanted to be a principal, right? I wanted to be a counselor. There's so many different things that I wanted to do, that a firefighter. There were so many things that I wanted to do that I knew that I could be good at. But at the same time, what happens is where attention goes, energy flows. And if your attention and your focus is divided, right, you're never going to be able to really lock in on one thing, get really good at it, and double down and put a lot of effort and hone in onto it. And that's what a lot of successful people do. If you notice, the major, biggest successful people, they didn't get super rich by multiple different things all at once. They got super rich by locking into one, maybe 2 things, double downing on it, and getting really, really good at their craft, really, really good at their industry. And then having a burning desire to achieve that goal. A lot of times people want to see success, but then you got to ask yourself, how badly do you really want it? Right? A lot of times people want success, right? They want to change their life. They want to get to their goals, but then they don't really want it bad enough. Right? They don't really want it bad enough. And you know how you don't want it bad enough is because what are you doing on a day-to-day basis to get it? If you want it bad enough, if you want it as badly as you would want to breathe, you would do it every single day, whether you had doubt in your mind or not. Right? You would do it even if you didn't think it was fucking possible, just because you want it so bad. Right? So you have to have that burning desire to achieve your goals. And that's something, I'm not gonna lie, it's very hard to achieve. It is very, very hard to achieve, especially when we live in a world of so much comfortability. You got to think about it, right? You have a phone to watch this. You have entertainment at the palm of your hand, right? We have food easily, relatively available. We don't have to go hunting and gathering like how back in the day. So life, for the most part, for the average man and woman, is very easy. It's more relaxed than it used to be. So having that burning desire to achieve your goals, it's something that you literally have to create within yourself, right? Honestly, the only way that sometimes you get it naturally is if you live in a place of poverty and you almost see nothing around you. But then that's the thing too. A lot of times when people live in these poverty-ish environment, they don't even think that they could change. So you have to place yourself out of that environment to a new environment where you can be inspired, where you can kind of develop that burning desire to achieve and want more from yourself. 4th one is using the law of attraction, understanding that the things that you want in life, you don't get them just because you want them. You get them because you actually deserve them. You get them because you can resonate, because you can attract them into your life. That woman that you want, the only way that you're going to get her is if you become the guy that can handle a woman like that, to keep it a buck with you. See what I'm saying? Right? That kind of car you want, that kind of job that you want. Ask yourself, what type of person has that job? Ask yourself, what type of person drives a car like that? And who do I need to become to attract that car into my life? Another good principle is reading books. Understand that the greatest leaders are the best readers, right? I have an adamant and a very extensive collection of books. And when I say collection, I've actually read a lot of these books. If not all of them, to be honest. Honestly, the only book that I have not read is this new book that I got for my birthday, and it's called The Parallel Universe of Self. It talks about what is known as reality creation. Super, super good book so far. I haven't got too far into it. I only read about maybe like 15 pages, but so far it's been very interesting. But as you can see, the more you read, the more you learn, because you're literally, what you're doing is that you're able to put yourself into the shoes of these individuals and learn from their experiences without having to go through the trials and tribulations that they went through, right? That is so powerful. It's like having a coach literally in the palm of your hand to walk you through life. And the Bible is actually one of the best books that you can read because it's a collection of books. It's like a library. So you have a collection of stories and lessons that you could tap into. Right. Another great thing for you to understand is saving your money is very important and crucial when you're trying to develop wealth. We know a lot of people who are overspenders, right? Even me, when I went out on this weekend, right, with my birthday, I have beyond the means to cover anything that I needed to do over the weekend. But even still, as I'm doing it, since I'm so conscious about my spending, I'm looking at it, I'm like, yeah, I could afford this. It's not none to worry about. But then at the same time, I'm seeing something, I'm like, I can afford it, but do I really need that right now? Not really. So you have to become very conscious of your spending, and saving 10% every single paycheck, saving 10% of no matter how much or how little of money that you get, saving that 10%, putting it away. Basically what you're doing is practicing this principle, which is called paying yourself first, right? When you get a check from your job, don't just go paying your bills. Don't go just spending the money or going out with your friend. Take 10% of that and tuck it away somewhere, whether that's in a shoebox, whether that's in a separate bank account, whether you send it to somebody, your parents, for them to hold it for you because maybe you don't feel like you're disciplined enough to not touch it. When you save 10% on a consistent basis, what you're doing is, one, you're practicing discipline, you're practicing self-control, you're paying yourself first, and 9 times out of 10, when you start saving 10%, your body subconsciously is gonna be more conscious of the money that you're spending. You're gonna get better at budgeting, and you're also gonna learn how to handle your money better. And I promise you, the moment I started saving 10%, all my bills started getting paid on time. I didn't have to worry about it anymore, right? Not saying you need to tap into that savings. Honestly, you probably shouldn't. Don't touch that savings. Put it away to the point where you forget about it. Set it and forget it. Another principle, right, that people need to know and practice is debt control, right? There's good debt and there's bad debt. Having real estate investments, right? Having businesses, things like that, things that are generating you money because you got some kind of business loan, right? Or business credit line. And to an extent, that's actually good debt, right? Because you're using that debt, you're using other people's money, which is actually another principle that we're going to talk about, OPM, other people's money to generate and make more money of. But we know a lot of people who are in consumer debt, have very high credit card balances, right? Have very high car notes and cars that they feel like they'll honestly never be able to pay off because the interest rate is so high. You have to get your credit score intact first too. That's another thing. Get out of debt. Try and reduce your debt as much as possible, right? If you want to know more information about that, I'm going to actually create a video on literally how to get out of debt step by step and how to build your credit step by step as well. So be on the lookout for that video. It should be dropping very, very soon. But that is something that you really need to keep in mind, right? If you have student debt, that's not the worst debt because at least, you learned something, right? I hope if you finish school. But at the same time, that's debt that's kind of like a ball and chain that's going to be holding you back from becoming ultra wealthy. So you have to first learn what is good debt, what is bad debt, how to reduce and stay out of debt, right? And how to use your credit cards wisely. Understand that money is not yours. It's theirs, and you will have to pay it back plus interest, and they're going to finesse you, right? Coming from me, I have 10 credit cards. But I have a really great credit score. I barely have any debt at all. It's because I'm very mindful. I'm very conscious. I'm very demure with my spending. You feel me? So you have to be conscious about that. Another principle that you need to think about is having good priority management, right? You can't manage your time. Because at the end of the day, everybody has the same 24 hours in a day. Time is going to go by. Time is going to fly quicker and faster than you think. It's very hard to have a grip on time, right? Sometimes you look at your watch, 5 minutes felt like 2 minutes, and then sometimes 2 minutes feel like 5. Time to an extent sometimes can be so relative, right? But what you can do is manage your priorities. Understand what is the most important thing to you right here, right now in this moment, and what do you need to do right now, right here in this moment to achieve your goals. So having a good priority management. Associating with winners, right? Understand that you are the sum total of your 5 closest friends. So if you hang out with 5 alcoholics, I'm sorry, but I'm telling you now, very soon you're going to become the 6th alcoholic. right? If you hang out with 5 people who are out of shape, I'm sorry, I'm telling you right now, very soon, you're gonna become out of shape because now that is your standard, right? Your friends are now considered your standard. So you think that it's okay to be out of shape because everybody around you is out of shape. But when you start hanging out with people who go to the gym, people who are fit, people who are wealthy, people who are grinding, people who are disciplined, people who are hustling and working hard, then when you get around your old group of friends, you're like, this is weird because I experienced a new environment and this is what I want to be like, right? This is where I want to be. This is the environment where I can grow. You see what I'm saying? So the environment that you place yourself, the people that you associate yourself with is very, very important. So stop hanging out with bums, okay? Start hanging out with winners, okay? And for the ladies, stop hanging out with that negative Nancy. Stop hanging out with that girl that don't got no man, that seems like she can't keep a man. Why? It's because I promise you, she's probably self-sabotaging it. And what's going to happen is she's going to start implementing bad thoughts into your mind for you to sabotage your relationship. And for the bros, just stop hanging out with bums. You already know. Just stop hanging out with bums. Understanding, developing good communication skills is very key, is very important. Understanding how to communicate, how to negotiate, how to deliver your thoughts in a very cohesive and concise manner, being very direct in not only in your thinking, but in the way that you do things, right? You don't want to try and take 4 or 5 different steps to get to somewhere when you can get there, with one conversation or one sentence. You see what I'm saying? So having good communication skills is important. And to add on top of that, developing a pleasing personality, right? Are you warm? Are you enjoyable to be around? Do you consider yourself, right, an individual where, when people get around you, they're going to have a great conversation, or they're going to feel good, or they're going to learn something, or they're going to be uplifted in a way? Or are you an individual where it seems like people barely call you, they barely want to talk to you, right? Or they don't seem like they're ecstatic when they hear from you? You got to think about that. You have to be conscious about that. Right? For me, I truly do believe that every time anyone get around me, they elevate to some extent, one way, shape, or form, right? And I don't need to force them to do it, right? I just develop myself enough to the point where they want to do it. That's how you lead. That's how you leave an impact on other people. You work on yourself so much to the point where other people, they're like, damn, I just want to be like this guy, bro. Let me see what he's doing. You feel me? Developing that pleasing personality is very crucial, is very important. A really good book that will help you with that is the book, How to Win Friends and Influence People by Andrew Carnegie. I think it was the first book that I've read to its entirety, my second book that I've ever read in my life, but the first book I've ever read to the entirety, and it's changed my life. Honestly, I recommend that book to everybody, anybody, whether you're in business, whether you're in sales, whether you're in marketing, whether you're in music, whatever industry you're in, that book will work for you. I promise you, I guarantee you. If you buy the book, drop a comment below. What were some of the favorite things in that book that resonated with you? And let me know if that really helped you or not. Okay. And then the last final things, right, is again, using other people's money for your advantage, right? Being able to learn how to use credit very smart, because you can get a lot of benefits, right? When you know how to leverage your credit right. But you have to be conscious, because these credit card companies, their whole mission is to finesse you. Their whole mission is for you not to be able to pay that credit card back. So you have to be smart when you're using your credit card. But another thing about being smart with your credit and using other people's money is understanding that you have to increase your income. And by what I mean by increase your income, make more money or put yourself in an environment where you can make more money. We know a lot of people who have really great and amazing skills, but they're being underpaid just because they're in the wrong industry. I'll give you a perfect example. As a server, you're doing the same exact work that you would do at one restaurant than if you would at another one. You're doing the same exact work at Olive Garden than you would do at Ruth Chris. So think about that. When you're at Olive Garden, don't get me wrong, Olive Garden is amazing. I'll go there. Food is great, right? The breadsticks, top tier. But you got to think about it. People who go to Olive Garden, they're people who maybe not necessarily on a budget, but people who might just be going out to eat, right? People who, to an extent, maybe just doing it for an occasion, not even an occasion, or just doing it because, hey, they don't want to cook at home. So they might not tip you as much as you would expect, right? Or as much as you would want, or as much as you are worthy or that you deserve. Another thing is that the food, right, for itself is at a really great price. That's why I love Olive Garden. So if they try and do that whole service fee charge, right, you're not going to be tipped as much. But if you're a server at Ruth Chris, where the average meal is like $90, right, now you're putting yourself in an environment with more wealthy individuals, right, where not only will you get paid more for your services for doing the same exact thing, but also there's more likelihood that you're going to get a bigger tip because the person that you're serving, they have more money to their name, so they can tip you more, right? I can give you this example in so many different industries that you're doing the same exact thing, the same exact skill, spending the same amount of time, but just putting yourself in a different environment, you would get paid more. Security is a perfect example. There's some people who get paid $12 an hour for security when if they go to New York, they could get paid $25 an hour for doing the same security. Now you might need to know a little bit more, right? There might be a little bit things that are different about the position, but overall you're still doing the same thing. So just putting yourself in a different environment can help you increase your income, right? Finding new ways or other ways of making money, right? Trading, investing into stocks. Shit, goddamn it. There's some cities where Uber, right, and DoorDash make $200 to $300 a day. A day. That's pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. $300 a day, 5 days a week. That's $1,500. That's $3,000 every 2 weeks. That's $6,000 a month. That's more money than a lot of average Americans, you know what I'm saying? So think about a lot of these principles, a lot of these things that I just dropped, some sauce that I just dropped into this video. I know I just sped through it, but it is a lot of information. But I want you to take some of these things that we talked about today, start applying them into your life and really understand that you are the master of your faith. You are the captain of your soul. And at the end of it, you can get yourself to where you want to be at if you just put in the work on a daily and consistent basis, right? So with that being said, until the next episode, if you didn't check out the last one, I'm gonna pin it here, right? Drop a comment of some of the things that you learned in this video, some of the things that resonated with you. Please share and like, right? That supports the channel more than you think. And until the next video, I'm your host, Hugh Huncho, and I'm out.